about your game right now that you feel you're way ahead of where you were in year one here at Mississippi State?
Yeah, I think for me, just the experience piece. This is my second year in the system, so learning the offense, all the different things that come with it. I think I have a lot more experience, which gains a lot of trust for me just to be able to go out there and play and execute the right way.
Blake, it's been a long time since the Florida game. Maybe kind of take us through, where you feel maybe you've gained the most mentally or maybe emotionally about the game of football in the time you've been away.
Yeah, I think I've said it many times. It's just a blessing to be able to play again. It's been a long time since I have been on the field, so being able to get out there, be with the guys, is going to be fun. I'm just excited to be able to play in another game. Obviously, it's been a long time, so I think just a blessing and having the ability to go out there and be healthy.
Obviously, Southern Miss has undergone a lot of personnel changes as well in the offseason. What have you kind of seen from your perspective, studying film and learning whatever you can about this team in terms of how to attack this defense?
Yeah, obviously a lot of those guys came from Marshall. I think they won like 10 games last year, so there's a lot of guys on that team that have carried over and they know how to win. So they're a team that's going to play hard. They know how to execute the right way. They're skilled. So just for us, like I said, just going out there, being the best that we possibly can be, execute the right way is going to be huge for us.
Blake, I asked Coach Lebby a very similar question, but obviously you guys want to get the win, start 1-0 on Saturday, but what would make you as the quarterback happy with your guys' performance outside of, the wins and the losses?
Yeah, I think for us is treating this game like any other game. It's obviously a non-conference game, but taking these guys seriously because they're a really good football team. I think, us coming out from the jump, starting really fast is going to be huge for us. And executing, like I've been saying, I think it comes down to that. Execution is the big part of the game. So those pieces.
As a quarterback, what has been the difference through camp working with this group of receivers? And, as far as differences from last year, what has been the big differences of this group that you're working with this year?
Yeah, I'd say the way they come in and work every single day, it's a good group of guys. I'm really close with a lot of those guys. Even the transfers that we brought in, I've been able to build a really good relationship with those guys, so that's been good. But on the field, they're very talented, and I've said it. I think this is the best receiver group I've been a part of. So just the relationship piece and us being able to build that bond, and then also being able to go on the field together and play together.
Blake, last year took a little while for the run game to get going, and they really didn't hit their stride until after you were lost for the season, and you unfortunately had to watch that from the sidelines. But kind of a redundant question, but how important is it for that run game to start clicking from the start this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's very important. I think it starts with the run game. That's going to open up a lot of things like the screen game, throwing the ball down the field, things like that. You got to be able to run the football, especially in the SEC, but that goes for any offense. So you got to establish the run game early on, and that's going to be a big key for us Saturday.
Blake, I know there's nothing like being out there, but the last 10 months or so after the Florida game, and obviously you had to rehab and all, but just the behind-the-scenes, day-to-day for you, learning this offense more and more, the mental reps, how much did that prepare you for, I guess, Saturday, getting back out there, but also teaching it and helping along Luke and Camario and some of the things behind the scenes?
Yeah, from the piece of getting hurt, I think the biggest thing with that was I was able to take a step back. Obviously, I wasn't the guy on the field, but I was in every single meeting. I was able to take all the notes that went into every game plan and versus every team. So I feel like things like that, like you can really dive in mentally in the playbook and the game plan every week and kind of understand every situation in a different lens, almost like a coach's lens. But then just helping the guys around me like Camario and Luke and things like that, that's huge. Obviously I'm big into friendship and things like that and big into helping the guys that are behind me. So I feel like it's my job, too, to be able to carry them along also.
Obviously, you want to start out really well on Saturday, but whether it's Saturday or another game, whenever things go bad and someone misses a block or fumbles a ball, what does that look like for you as a leader to do the next thing to encourage them?
Yeah, I think for me is that's a big piece in the game, is being able to bounce back after something bad happens. I feel like that's what separates the good teams and the bad teams is the good teams are able to bounce back very quickly after. So, as a quarterback and a leader of the team, you got to be able to give that energy to the other guys. Like, obviously that wasn't something that we wanted to happen, but we know bad things are going to happen. This is the game of football, and mistakes are going to be made, but it's how you respond to them.
You've been a competitor your whole life, and but you've also had some time away from the game over the last couple of years. How do you kind of manage your competitive streak and your playing style so that you're able to play all the time?
Yeah, that's been something that honestly I haven't figured out until last season. Whenever I got hurt, I was distraught by the whole thing, and I questioned like, what was it? And there's sometimes you can't control taking a hit or whatever, what may be the down, or it may be the type of play that's called, and you got to take a hit sometimes. But I feel like a lot of the time for me, I took hits that are very unnecessary, and so for me to move forward, I feel like I got to be able to get down in critical situations and understand when it is time to get a first down and when it's not. Be able to protect myself, slide, but at the same time compete, and that's a good question, just because I am a competitor. And every play I want to lay it out on the line, but I got to understand the situation of the game.
You all look bigger and deeper as a team on the offensive line. Talk about the differences, I guess, playing with a bigger offensive line as opposed to maybe a smaller one that you had last year. Are there any differences from a quarterback perspective when you're having bigger guys who are in front of you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can tell that they're bigger, but there's nothing that really changes. I think the biggest thing with those guys, good group of guys to be around. They've worked their tail off all through camp, but very talented in that room, and just got to keep working and moving forward. At the end of the day, I can't really tell the difference, but obviously you can tell the size is a little bit different.
Blake, Coach Levy talked about at media days that the trend of having quarterbacks in the second year of his system, the numbers jump up a lot. Now going into, I guess, your second season with Mississippi State, how in sync would you say you are with Coach Levy in the offensive, game plan of what you guys want to accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously, like I said, just second year in the system, you naturally grow a little bit more comfortable year after year, and so I think just from where I was last year to where I'm at now is just night and day. So that's a positive for sure, and just the comfortability with just the plays and things like that. There's no hesitation with the calls or anything like that, or reads. I kind of understand kind of what Coach Levy wants, whereas last year there might have been some gray areas. So I think a lot of that is cleared up, which is really good.